Tottenham confirms that Igor Tudor remains in charge of the team. And the fans, we who love this club, continue heading toward relegation. It's unbelievable what the owners are doing to this team. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Welcome to our Spurs and Filter. Before anything else, go ahead and subscribe, leave your comment. Turn on notifications, because that way YouTube understands and recommends this content to more and more people. Guys, Igor Tudor remains in charge of Tottenham for the next match against Atlético de Madrid in the Champions League next Tuesday. And this just shows how pathetic and unbelievable the owners and the management of this team are. A coach who has shown absolutely nothing in 3 games. 3 games in which we were humiliated. Games in which the team played absolutely nothing. A cowardly attitude. A bizarre attitude. An attitude that words can't describe. As I say, he's a Thomas Frank 3.0. Igor Tudor is a Thomas Frank 3.0, with the difference that Thomas Frank still had a better relationship with the players. Thomas Frank had a better relationship with the players. Igor Tudor does not. Igor Tudor, besides being terrible, besides his work being awful, is also terrible in his relationship with the players. And that's what makes it all even more unbelievable. He only complains in interviews, speaks badly about the players, speaks badly about the team, speaks badly about the situation. And it's absolutely unbelievable, because if you need your players to perform better, are you going to attack them in press conferences? That makes no sense at all, especially in the current situation where the team is heading quickly toward relegation. Reports already indicate that the players have no kind of relationship with Coach Igor Tudor. They have no appreciation for him. They don't like him. He's a closed-off guy, a man of few words, and he's the perfect guy to get us relegated. He's the perfect guy to send Tottenham down to the Championship. There's no other explanation. After the Crystal Palace game, there was a lot of talk that the board might decide to fire him and change managers again. However, on Friday morning, you see the information that they believe they are not going to make a change. They believe they are not. It's the moment to make a change again, and they're going to stick with him, which is complete and utter idiocy, which is completely stupid. If you assume that the game against Atlético de Madrid is absolutely pointless, Tottenham is not going to qualify against Atlético de Madrid. That is, anyone who believes that they must be crazy. They're not going to qualify. So we have to think about the Premier League. The focus absolutely needs to be on the Premier League. Send this guy away. Bring in someone who knows the club, someone who can bring these players together and do the bare minimum so that we can win 3 games there. That's the least someone needs to do. And so who is this guy? Oh, Ryan Mason, Harry Hagnett. I don't know, but it has to be someone who knows the club. That's something Manchester United did. They brought in Michael Carrick and he changed the team. Obviously, Manchester United is a much better team than Tottenham, but it's a new energy, a fresh boost, because when you change the coach, there's that initial excitement, that initial drive from everyone wanting to prove themselves, everyone wanting to improve. At Tottenham, no. There were 3 absolutely pathetic games. Why keep this guy? What's the point of keeping this guy? We're probably going to be humiliated in Madrid. In Liverpool on Sunday, if he stays in charge, we're going to be humiliated again. Against Liverpool next weekend. Then against Atlético de Madrid at home, I actually think we won't be humiliated. Atlético de Madrid should win the game, but since the qualification will probably be decided on Tuesday in Madrid, in my opinion, Tottenham will lose there by 3 or 4 goals. If everything continues as it is, the normal thing is for Atlético de Madrid to win by 3 or 4 goals difference. So The following week at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, there's no need for them to try to control the game. It could end in a draw, 1-0 for them, or by some miracle, Tottenham could win the game anyway. But that's not the point. The point has to be the Premier League. The point has to be the Premier League because there's Liverpool between the two. And then the following weekend, Nottingham Forest, which is the game of their lives. It's the game of their lives. There's no other way to describe it. And these guys, what are they going to do? It doesn't change. It doesn't change. It's the same mistake with Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank should have been fired in November. They waited until now to fire him. They're going to do the same with this guy who has already shown nothing. He showed absolutely nothing. It's the incompetence and negligence of these owners. In my opinion, even worse than Igor Tudor is the entire Lewis family, especially ENIC, who he shows no sign of concern whatsoever for Tottenham. And the players are also part of that mix. Christian Romero, Mick van de Ven, Pedro Porro, Guglielmo Vicario, where are these guys? To call for accountability, Pedro Porro is substituted and there's a small attack on the bench. Where's the ball? Where's the game? Where's his football? Christian Romero is only concerned with the Argentine national team. Mick van de Ven. He seems to be worried about the transfer in the summer. I don't know. Some say Liverpool. The vicar goes to the press and says he wants to return to Italy. It appears that Inter Milan is interested. So these are players who don't understand the situation, who think they're too good to be in this position, and who can't take responsibility to get the team out of this situation. So it's just desperate. What's happening at Tottenham? Absolutely desperate. A lot of people on social media are already taking relegation for granted. And if there's no kind of change, whether it's the coach or the players, I mean, when we talk about players, we mean removing some players, bringing some players up to the first team. If there's no kind of change, relegation is certain. There's nothing that can be done. Today, Tottenham is the worst team in the Premier League. That's a fact. We are the worst team in the Premier League. Wolverhampton won 2 games in a row against Aston Villa and Liverpool. I can't remember the last time we won 2 really tough games in a row. Burnley fights. It's not a good team, of course it's not, but it's a team that shows fight. In the second to last round, there was an absolutely crazy game against Brentford. Nottingham Forest also has its difficulties, but they're better than Tottenham. West Ham is better than Tottenham. Even Leeds is better than Tottenham. And as for Tottenham, they have just completely given up. It is absolutely, truly desperate for them right now. They are absolutely and completely desperate right now. And so, let's just wait and see what happens. Hopefully, they will eventually change their minds and decide to fire this coach. Although that is exactly what we all imagine will inevitably happen in the end. Especially looking ahead to this coming Tuesday, with the potential defeat that will very likely happen against Atlético de Madrid. It all really depends on exactly how that loss goes for the team. The dismissal needs to happen so they can already start thinking about Liverpool and the rest of the Premier League. That's it, folks. I just came here mainly to talk to you about this situation. Should they make the change or not? Anyway, Igor Tudor stays. Tottenham continues in absolute desperation. We will be sure to stay in touch. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you again soon.